An ancient coffin was discovered in China, but when archaeologists looked inside, they were shocked. Hello, and welcome to the Ancient History Channel. My friend, did you know that there are things that have lain quietly beneath the earth for thousands, even tens of thousands of years, seemingly buried by time forever? Yet sometimes, all it takes is a single strike of a shovel, a single excavation, and the entire history of humanity can be turned upside down. Archaeological discoveries are not merely bones, pottery, or ancient ruins. They are vivid fragments of the past, powerful enough to leave the whole world stunned and force us to question what we once believed to be true. Just imagine, what would happen if an ancient tomb containing an enormous treasure were suddenly uncovered? Or if a strange set of remains appeared in a place where modern humans were never expected to exist? Every groundbreaking archaeological discovery is like a door opening, taking us back in time and allowing us to glimpse the lives, beliefs, and mysteries left behind by our ancestors. Some discoveries have sparked debates among scientists for decades. Others have completely rewritten history textbooks. And the most frightening and most fascinating realization of all is this: what humanity knows about the past is still only a very small part of the whole picture. Beneath every inch of ground we stand on, there may still be secrets powerful enough to shake the entire world, waiting for the day they are finally revealed. And in today's video, I will bring you many remarkable archaeological discoveries just like these. So stay tuned. A flooded tomb and a treasure of 5,300 foreign artifacts that shocked China. Have you ever wondered what would happen if a royal tomb were submerged in water for hundreds of years? And when finally opened, it turned out to conceal a treasure far beyond imagination? If not, then join me as we travel back in time to the year 2001. That year, in Hubei province, Chinese archaeologists truly faced such a moment. A tomb dating back to the Ming Dynasty was unexpectedly discovered. At first glance, it seemed ordinary, but the deeper they explored, the more unbelievable the story became. The moment the tomb was opened, experts were left stunned. It was not just one or two valuable items, but an enormous treasure spread out before them. Gold, silver, gemstones, and ancient artifacts were piled layer upon layer. But that was not all. What caused everyone to pause and think deeply was that among these treasures, many clearly originated from foreign lands. A Ming Dynasty tomb, buried deep within inland China, why did it contain so many Western artifacts? The surprises did not end there. Archaeologists soon realized that this tomb had an extremely unusual feature: water. Water was seeping out from inside, indicating that the entire tomb complex had once been submerged for a long period of time. For Chinese archaeology, this was almost unheard of. For thousands of years, the Chinese had been renowned for their highly sophisticated waterproof tomb construction techniques. The more important the tomb, the stronger its resistance to water. So the question arose, why did this Ming Dynasty tomb fail to withstand water? To find the answer, experts decided to undertake a task that was anything but simple: draining all the water from inside the tomb. The process lasted a full 12 days, with tension hanging over every single hour. No one knew whether, once the water was gone, they would find destruction, emptiness, or something far beyond expectations. And then, when the final traces of water disappeared, the door to history opened in a way no one had anticipated. Inside lay a truly massive treasure. According to estimates, approximately 5,300 extremely valuable artifacts were discovered, including gold, silver, gemstones, and countless exquisitely crafted burial objects. What astonished experts even more was that many of these artifacts did not follow traditional Chinese styles, but clearly originated from foreign countries. So who was the owner of this tomb? Someone capable of possessing such an international collection? This question quickly became a hot topic among archaeologists and the public alike. After a long period of studying thousands of artifacts, cross-referencing historical records, and analyzing clues within the tomb, Chinese archaeologists finally reached a conclusion. This was the final resting place of Prince Liang Zhuang, Zhu Jianji. He was the nephew of the Yongle Emperor, Zhu Di, and the younger brother of the Xuande Emperor, placing him among the highest ranks of the Ming royal family. Prince Liang Zhuang passed away in 1441 at just 30 years old. Notably, he left no male heir. As a result, most of the wealth and precious items he owned during his lifetime were buried with him. This explains why the treasure within the tomb was so vast and abundant. As for the foreign artifacts, experts explain that while he was alive, Prince Liang Zhuang made multiple voyages to the western seas. On each journey, he brought back rare and valuable items from western regions. When he died, all of these treasures were buried alongside him, turning this tomb into a vivid testament to East-West cultural exchange hundreds of years ago. A flooded tomb, an enormous treasure, and a mysterious royal identity. This story not only overwhelms us with its wealth, but also forces us to re-examine history from a completely different perspective. Don't you think so? Headless remains of a mother and child in a 2,500-year-old tomb in the Altai Mountains. Amid the icy Altai Mountains, where the mere sound of the wind is enough to send a chill down one's spine, archaeologists dug into the frozen ground with a very simple initial goal: to find more clues about how ancient people once lived. But what they uncovered instead made the entire team freeze in place for several seconds as they tried to process what they were seeing. Beneath the ancient soil lay a 2,500-year-old tomb. Inside were two sets of human remains, but the shocking detail that made everyone swallow hard was this: both skeletons were missing their heads. And that was not all. The heads had not disappeared or been discarded somewhere far away. They had been deliberately severed and carefully placed at the feet of the bodies, positioned neatly near the knees. One set of remains belonged to an adolescent, the other to an adult. Upon closer examination, experts discovered that both individuals were dressed in fur garments decorated with gold. At first glance, this may sound luxurious, but in reality, it reflects something very practical. In the bitterly cold regions of Siberia, ancient people believed that even in the afterlife, the dead would still have to endure the freezing cold. Burying them in fur clothing was like sending them off with a warm coat, in the hope that they would not shiver in the next world. Thinking about it is both unsettling and strangely comforting at the same time. Subsequent analysis revealed that the two individuals were biologically related, very likely a mother and her child, and belonged to the ancient Pazyryk culture. This culture is well known for its elaborate tombs, rich grave goods, and burial rituals deeply influenced by spiritual beliefs. True to that reputation, archaeologists also found two small bronze mirrors, several ceramic objects, and many ancient gold foil pieces that were remarkably well preserved. These details closely resemble discoveries previously made at the Taldur II burial site near the ancient village of Beltir. At this point, another question arose. Had the tomb been looted at some point in the past? Dr. Nikita Konstantinov, who led the excavation, explained that headless burials were not uncommon in ancient times, especially during periods of warfare. Victors often took the heads of the defeated as symbols of power and military achievement, which is why many ancient graves are completely missing skulls. However, this case presents a serious problem. Archaeologists have never encountered a child buried without a head. Moreover, there were no signs that this mother and child were enemies or captives. In addition, the skeletons and grave goods were found in their proper positions, with no signs of disturbance. This makes the theory of grave robbery highly unlikely. Another hypothesis, one that sends a chill down the spine, has also been proposed. It is possible that ancient people believed the spirits of the dead could return to haunt the living. Cutting off the head and placing it separately may have been seen as a way to seal the soul, preventing it from coming back to disturb the world of the living. It sounds frightening, but given the spiritual beliefs of ancient cultures, such practices were entirely possible. Of course, this remains only a hypothesis for now. As for the true reason behind this unusual burial, it is still unknown. The Ghost Yacht, frozen beneath the Antarctic Sea. Do you know of a place with a desolate landscape where icy winds cut across a frozen ocean, where there is not a single tree in sight nor the sound of a bird? Only ice, snow, and the endless depths of the sea? That place is the southernmost region of Earth, Antarctica, one of the harshest environments on the planet, yet also a land that holds countless unsolved mysteries. And to begin today's video, we will explore one of the strangest stories ever to unfold here: the journey of a ghost ship frozen beneath the Antarctic Sea. Mar Sem Phim, also known as the Endless Ocean. Mar Sem Phim was not an old cargo ship or a worn-out war vessel. It was a modern Brazilian yacht owned by the well-known journalist and entrepreneur João Lara Mesquita. In April 2012, he and 3 colleagues traveled to the waters off Antarctica with the goal of filming a documentary about the region's environment and ecosystem. However, none of them could have imagined that this journey would end in such a haunting and mysterious accident. The incident occurred on April 7th. While the yacht was anchored in a small bay called Ardley Cove, part of Maxwell Bay, about 750 miles south of the southern tip of South America, a powerful storm suddenly struck. Wind gusts exceeding 60 miles per hour caused Marsem Fim to tilt violently. The hull was torn apart by wind and waves, and every attempt to stabilize the vessel proved futile. Fortunately, all 4 people on board were rescued in time by the Chilean Navy from the nearby Bahia Fildes base, narrowly avoiding a deadly tragedy. However, the strange part of the story began the moment the yacht was abandoned. Temperatures in the area dropped so low that the surrounding seawater nearly froze solid, trapping the yacht tightly within thick layers of ice. In a short period of time, pressure from massive ice flows caused the hull to crack apart, forcing the vessel to sink to the bottom of the bay at a depth of about 30 feet. For months, no one could reach Marsem Fim. Only faint aerial images captured the eerie sight of the yacht, half submerged like a ghost clinging beneath the transparent ice, creating a scene that was both beautiful and deeply unsettling. It seemed as though the story would end there. But in early 2013, João Lara Mesquita decided to return to Antarctica in an effort to recover his vessel. When weather conditions allowed, he and a team of divers began a challenging salvage operation. They had to dive into the freezing water to wrap cables around the hull, then attach those cables to special flotation devices positioned on both sides of the yacht. These flotation devices were slowly inflated, gradually lifting the vessel from the frozen waters after nearly a year beneath the ice. When Marsem Fim finally resurfaced, it was an emotional moment. Although the yacht had suffered severe damage, the hull was cracked, and the onboard equipment was nearly beyond repair, most of its structure remained intact enough to be useful for research purposes. The yacht was then towed ashore so scientists could recover cameras, sensors, and documentary materials related to the unfinished film project. Unfortunately, despite being insured for $700,000, the vessel was essentially impossible to repair after spending 10 months trapped beneath the Antarctic ice. Marsem Fim was not just a simple maritime accident. It stands as a powerful reminder of the extreme harshness of Antarctica, a place where even modern machines become small and helpless. At the same time, the yacht resembles a kind of living tomb, where time seems to stand still and humanity is forced to confront its own limits. This story not only stunned archaeologists and filmmakers alike, but also raised deeper questions about what may still lie hidden beneath the ice. How many secrets remain buried, undiscovered, in that frozen world? The journey of Marsem Fim can be seen as a vivid example of the intersection between technology, courage, and humanity's vulnerability in the face of nature. And sometimes, it is precisely those things we believe to be lost that offer us the most profound lessons about life, existence, and our enduring desire to conquer the unknown. A bound mummy in a crouched position in Peru. In the middle of what appears to be an ordinary public square, where people pass by, children run and play, and everyday conversations take place, who would ever imagine that beneath the ground lies a secret that has slept undisturbed for more than 800 years? And when archaeologists in Peru accidentally touched that secret, history itself seemed to awaken, bringing with it a flood of chilling questions that sparked deep curiosity. If it were you, would you dare to stand in that square, knowing that an ancient mummy lay directly beneath your feet? Probably not. Even the bravest archaeologists found themselves trembling at the thought. This story begins at Cajamarquilla, an archaeological site located about 15.5 miles east of Lima, Peru's capital. While excavating an ancient underground structure at the site, a research team from the National University of San Marcos unexpectedly discovered a mummy that was preserved in near-perfect condition. But what made them freeze in place was not the discovery of the mummy itself. It was the position in which it was buried. The mummy was not laid flat, nor resting peacefully. Instead, it was tightly bound with ropes, its arms covering its face, as if it were trying to hide something from future generations. At this point, many questions naturally come to mind. Who was this person? Why were they buried in such a strange way? And most importantly, what did they experience before death? To answer these questions, experts proposed several theories. The most convincing one suggests that this burial represents a distinctive funerary ritual practiced by ancient communities in southern Peru. Analysis indicates that the mummy is at least 800 years old, dating back to a time even before the rise of the famous Inca civilization, the very civilization associated with Machu Picchu, a dream destination for travelers around the world. This means the person buried here lived in a world vastly different from ours, with beliefs, customs, and views on life and death that were entirely their own. The discoveries did not stop there. Inside the tomb, archaeologists also found numerous grave goods, including pottery, stone tools, and traces of plant materials. This clearly shows that the burial was not done hastily, but rather was part of a carefully planned and meaningful ritual. As researchers expanded their investigation, they uncovered another puzzling detail: seashells scattered around the exterior of the tomb. This may not sound unusual at first, but Cajamarquilla is located more than 15 miles from the coast. Shellfish do not exactly walk themselves inland. According to Peter van Dalen Luna, this suggests that after the individual's death, descendants or members of the community repeatedly return to the burial site, bringing food offerings and ceremonial gifts, including marine animals. In addition, bones of llamas, a common food source at the time, were also found, seemingly offered so the deceased could continue enjoying what they loved in life. When all these details are considered together, the tomb's location in the middle of a public square, the quantity of offerings, and the long-term care given to the burial, researchers reached a fairly confident conclusion. This was no ordinary individual. The young man, estimated to be between 25 and 30 years old, was likely a wealthy merchant or a person of high social status in Cajamarquilla, which was once a major commercial hub in pre-Columbian times. However, archaeologists have yet to determine exactly who this man was or why he was buried in such an unusual position. For this reason, scientists are now conducting more advanced analyses, including radiocarbon dating, in hopes of uncovering further details about the identity and life of this mysterious figure. So what about you? If you had the chance to travel back in time 800 years, would you dare to step into Cajamarquilla and witness a vanished civilization, one whose traces still lie silently beneath our feet to this very day? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. 4,000-year-old city in Saudi Arabia. Recently, a team of French and Saudi archaeologists discovered a 4,000-year-old ancient city hidden beneath an oasis in Saudi Arabia, in the northwestern region of the Arabian Peninsula. This city is not merely a relic of the past. It is a key that helps unlock our understanding of humanity's remarkable transition from a nomadic way of life to urban living. Led by French archaeologist Guillaume Charloux, the new study, published in the journal PLOS1, revealed a surprising truth. The ancient city of Al-Nata, once inhabited around 2400 BCE, had been concealed for thousands of years beneath the Khaybar Oasis, a lush green area in the midst of a vast desert. This was a prosperous region that may have served as a developmental center for a relatively advanced Bronze Age community, at a time when other parts of the Arabian Peninsula were still arid lands inhabited mainly by nomadic pastoral tribes. So what protected this city from the ravages of time? The answer lies in the black volcanic basalt stones that surrounded the walls of Al-Nata, shielding its remains and leaving them largely untouched for thousands of years. This natural protection not only preserved the city, but also allowed archaeologists to clearly identify the solid foundations of about 50 houses, along with an encircling wall system stretching approximately 9 miles, a formidable fortification comparable to other ancient cities of the same era. Covering an area of about 6.4 acres, Al-Nata was far more than a simple village. It was likely home to around 500 people who lived and worked in houses that may have risen as high as 2 stories. Even more intriguing, archaeologists uncovered not only architectural structures, but also a cemetery containing unusual graves. Inside these graves, researchers found metal weapons such as axes and daggers, along with precious stones like agate, reflecting a society with a fairly advanced level of craftsmanship and technical skill. Pottery remains further suggest that this was a balanced and stable society, without extreme social stratification. So what makes Al-Nata truly special? It is its transformation from a nomadic community into an urban society. At the time Al-Nata was built, the region was still a harsh desert with no clear signs of permanent settlement. However, these recent discoveries clearly illustrate the evolution of human lifestyles, from nomadic herders to residents of organized, structured settlements. The fortifications of Al-Nata, reaching heights of up to about 16 feet, provide undeniable evidence of a strong local authority capable of governing and protecting a community that was gradually becoming urbanized. This raises an important question. Could Al-Nata be part of a broader chain of changes in human history? The discovery of this city may be a crucial key to understanding the transition from nomadic lifestyles to more stable communities, paving the way for the rise of urban civilizations in the region. From this perspective, we can begin to imagine the emergence of the very first cities, ushering in a new era in human history. Al-Nata is not just an archaeological site. It is a vivid testament to the process of urbanization, a process we are still striving to fully understand. Imagine that in the future, as we continue to dig deeper into these basalt stones and ancient foundations, stories of a long-lost civilization will keep emerging, revealing secrets of the past and teaching us invaluable lessons about the development of humanity. So what do you think about this discovery? Could Al-Nata be one of the foundational building blocks in the rise of ancient urban civilizations? 4,000 human remains in an underground cemetery beneath Berlin. Beneath the busy streets of modern central Berlin, directly under neatly paved roads and seemingly lifeless parking lots where traffic passes every day, an astonishing mystery has been uncovered, leaving the archaeological world in shock. In 2024, a team of researchers accidentally discovered a massive underground cemetery containing nearly 4,000 human remains buried beneath the ground. What is truly remarkable is that nearly half of these remains date from 1047 to 1299, placing them squarely within the most chaotic and darkest period of the Middle Ages. This is not just a large-scale archaeological discovery. It is a gateway into a lesser-known chapter of history, one that tells stories of death, suffering, and survival amid disease, warfare, and faith. Every skeleton resting underground tells a story. The remains of children reveal heartbreaking truths. Rickets, tuberculosis, scabies, clear signs of malnutrition and harsh living conditions. In an era when clean water was a luxury and medical knowledge was largely confined to ancient religious texts, death was a constant companion. Simply surviving to adulthood was nearly a miracle. The skeletons of adult men, however, reflect a different reality, one far more brutal and blood-soaked. Many died with unmistakable injuries caused by axes or swords. Cuts to the skull, broken arms and legs show that they faced violence, possibly from war, uprisings, or even public executions. There was no peaceful passing here, only violent deaths in an unforgiving age. Beyond physical suffering, social status and religious belief are etched into the soil itself, preserved in the remaining artifacts. Some skeletons were buried with distinctive items: a silver coin placed in the mouth, an ancient ritual meant to pay the ferryman to carry the soul across the river Styx into the afterlife, along with silver brooches, keys, and iron locks. These objects suggest that the deceased were not ordinary commoners. They may have been members of the local nobility, clergy, or individuals who held important roles within the religious community of the time. These traces confirm that this was not an anonymous mass grave, but a large communal burial site that clearly reflects social stratification from the 11th to the 13th centuries. This raises an important question. Why were so many people buried here? And why did a place that once served as the final resting ground for thousands vanish from historical records for centuries? Historians believe the site may once have been part of a medieval monastery or hospital, possibly linked to the Cistercian order, a religious order that held significant influence across Europe during that period. Such institutions were often associated with centers of healing and care for the poor, places where life and death coexisted in every corner. Now, after centuries buried beneath concrete and asphalt, the cemetery has resurfaced, like a whisper from the past, eager to tell an unfinished story. Medieval Berlin was not the major metropolis we know today. It was a newly forming, unstable region where power was divided among feudal lords and where war and disease could strike at any moment. The discovery of nearly 4,000 human remains reveals just how harsh life was at the time. More importantly, it serves as evidence of a complex society, one with hierarchy, religious belief, and burial rituals deeply rooted in medieval European culture. This discovery is not only a major archaeological milestone, but also a stark mirror reflecting the harsh contrast between past and present. We, modern people, walk, shop, and work every day on land that once served as the final resting place for thousands of souls. While today we benefit from advanced medicine, abundant food, and modern comforts, just a few centuries ago, cold, disease, and violence were constant threats, and human life was as fragile as a single thread. The excavation in Berlin has revealed not just a new archaeological site, but an entirely new chapter in the city's history. A chapter of unnamed individuals, buried suffering, and a past that was never fully told. This is not merely a journey beneath the ground. It is a journey into human memory, where bones still silently speak, telling the stories of those who once lived, once loved, once suffered, and who, through archaeology, are finally remembered once again. A Barbary pirate ship reappears after 4 centuries of disappearance. You have probably heard stories about Caribbean pirates, sea raiders sailing under black skull flags, roaming the oceans and burying treasure on deserted islands. But today, forget Jack Sparrow and Hollywood legends. What we are about to explore is a completely real chapter of history, dramatic, violent, and mysterious, about a group of pirates who spread terror across Europe for centuries, the Barbary pirates. And recently, for the first time in history, one of their ships has been discovered on the deep sea floor near the Strait of Gibraltar, revealing shocking truths about a past few people truly know. According to maritime archaeologist Sean Kingsley, editor-in-chief of the specialist journal Wreck and a member of the archaeological research team, this marks the first time a Barbary pirate ship has ever been found in this highly sensitive region. The wreck lies at a depth of approximately 2,720 feet, buried beneath seafloor sediment in the Strait of Gibraltar, one of the most important maritime routes in the world and the gateway between the Mediterranean Sea and the Atlantic Ocean. What makes this discovery especially remarkable is the identity of the vessel itself. The ship was a small warship known as a tartane, measuring about 46 feet in length, with 2 masts and triangular lateen sails made from a fabric known as tartanes, commonly used in the 17th and 18th centuries. This type of ship was highly maneuverable and could easily disguise itself as a fishing boat or merchant vessel, a familiar tactic used by Barbary pirates to deceive their targets. The Barbary pirates, also known as Ottoman pirates, began operating in the 15th century from Algiers, when the region was part of the Ottoman Empire. They not only seized ships at sea, but also carried out terrifying raids on coastal villages across Europe, kidnapping civilians and turning them into slaves or hostages for ransom. Their attacks plunged Mediterranean nations into fear for hundreds of years, especially in the Western Mediterranean, where trade routes and small fishing communities became prime targets. The newly discovered ship was heavily armed, carrying 4 large cannons, 10 swivel guns, and numerous muskets, more than enough firepower to threaten any merchant vessel in the region. The crew is believed to have numbered around 20 men, a small but ruthless and highly strategic force. In addition, researchers recovered an early telescopic spyglass believed to have been taken from a European ship. At the time, this was a revolutionary instrument, allowing pirates to spot targets from great distances. Several artifacts recovered from the wreck further confirmed that this was no ordinary merchant vessel. Glass bottles manufactured in Belgium or Germany, along with finely crafted teacups from Turkey, all clear evidence that the ship had taken part in large-scale looting and was carrying stolen goods. Despite its clever disguise, the quantity of weapons and plunder aboard leaves little doubt among archaeologists that this vessel belonged to the notorious Barbary pirates. Based on the ship's course and the location of the wreck, experts believe it was heading toward the Spanish coastline, a frequent victim of pirate attacks during that era. However, the ship never completed its journey. It may have been lost due to severe weather, an unrecorded naval battle, or a deadly accident at sea. No one knows exactly what caused it to sink. What is certain is that the ship, and all its secrets, lay undisturbed on the ocean floor for centuries until now. Ultimately, the fate of the Barbary pirates mirrored that of this newly discovered vessel. In the early 19th century, a coalition of major powers, including the United States, Sweden, and the Kingdom of Sicily, launched decisive military campaigns that finally ended Barbary pirate dominance in the Mediterranean. The pirates who once terrified all of Europe were defeated, leaving behind only blood-stained chapters in history books and the lingering smoke of gunpowder. What do you think about this discovery? Could it be that countless historical secrets are still waiting to be uncovered beneath the deep ocean? Don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments below, and join us as we continue our journey to trace the past and uncover the world's untold mysteries. Human remains with a glass bottle, placed between the legs. In early 2021, while carrying out a major excavation at a site in the city of Hull, East Yorkshire, England, an area that had been used for burials between 1783 and 1861, archaeologists encountered a strange scene that remains unexplained to this day. Specifically, during the excavation of old graves on Castle Street in central Hull, part of a £355 million project known as the A63 scheme aimed at creating a new junction to reduce traffic congestion, a team of 70 professional archaeologists uncovered an unusual set of human remains. Unlike the thousands of skeletons previously excavated at the site, this particular burial included a blue glass bottle placed between the individual's legs. Inside the bottle was a mysterious brown liquid that has yet to be definitively identified. Even more intriguing, the bottle was engraved with the words Hull Infirmary, leading researchers to believe that it had been deliberately placed in the grave at the time of burial. It is known that this site is one of the largest post-medieval cemeteries ever excavated in northern England, and the discovery of the bottle left many archaeologists astonished. At the time, the excavation was overseen by Katie Dalman, who explained, "Finding artifacts such as rings, coins, clothing, and even tableware in burial grounds is fairly common, but this bottle is highly unusual. Not only was it placed in a very specific position between the person's legs, but it was also sealed and almost completely filled with liquid." The inscription on the bottle provided an important clue that helped uncover some of the secrets of this grave. Hull Infirmary was first established in a temporary facility in 1782, 1 year before the burial ground opened, and was later relocated to a building on Prospect Street in 1784. Katie added that researchers have since learned more about the identity of the deceased. She was a woman in her 60s at the time of her death and had suffered from rickets and osteoporosis during her lifetime. Further tests were conducted to determine the nature of the mysterious liquid. Samples were sent to specialists at Nottingham Trent University for high-tech analysis. The results showed the presence of sodium, potassium, and phosphorus, leading scientists to conclude that the liquid could be urine. However, this raised even more questions. What would that mean? Why was it placed there? And if it was not urine, what else could it be? So far, these questions have continued to puzzle both archaeologists and scientists. According to Katie, another hypothesis is also being explored. The liquid may have been a phosphate-containing medicinal drink. Such beverages were popular in the 19th century when they were marketed as cures for various illnesses, including tuberculosis. At this stage, however, nothing can be stated with certainty. Researchers are continuing further tests in the hope of arriving at a definitive answer in the near future. The Ancient Kingdom, Beneath the Earth, Shambala. Many mystical religions speak of an ideal place on Earth, a region untouched by human greed or corruption, where spiritually enlightened beings reside. In Buddhism, the legendary kingdom of Shambhala is considered one such place. Many believe this kingdom lies deep beneath the Earth's surface. For thousands of years, Tibet has fascinated those drawn to mystery and spirituality. Among its legends, Shambhala is said to be hidden beyond the distant northern mountains of the Himalayas, long considered a dream destination for explorers worldwide. Shambhala's allure is heightened by Tibetan mystical tales describing a kingdom that mysteriously disappeared. To this day, the enigmatic stories surrounding this lost kingdom continue to inspire countless captivating narratives. In his book Beasts, Men, and Gods, author Ferdinand Ossendowski recounts his experiences in Russia during the Civil War and his subsequent journey to Mongolia. In chapter 46, titled The Kingdom Beneath the Earth, he describes a startling incident. His Mongolian guides suddenly stopped, leapt off their camels, and began to pray, repeating strange words. Later in the book, Ossendowski claimed to have discovered the secret of secrets, the legend of the underground kingdom. He describes seeing a cave, or what he called a smoke gate, where locals told him that an ancient tribe had fled into what they called the kingdom beneath the earth. Eventually, after much investigation, Ossendowski learned that the truth about this mysterious kingdom was linked to Shambhala. He wrote, "It's not something too strange. The two largest oceans of the East and West were once two continents. Now they lie beneath the sea, but their people went into the underground kingdom. There were many people from many different nations. In more recent times, this mysterious subterranean place has been identified as the underground city of Agartha, which many believe is another name for the mystical Shambala. Ossendowski described it as a location of advanced technological wonders, including flying discs and the residence of high monks, scientists, and superhuman beings with astonishing powers. However, he did not claim that Shambala and Agartha were the same. According to him, Agartha's underground world is vast, with Shambala considered its capital, though it apparently features purely Western-style architecture. The gates leading to this underground world are said to exist at the poles, in caves, and in honeycomb-like tunnels across the globe. Some believe that Shambala or Agartha may represent a civilization inheriting the remnants of the lost continents of Lemuria and Atlantis. Ossendowski also warned that the people of this civilization possess immense power. If provoked, they could reportedly obliterate the entire surface of the human planet and turn it into a desert. Yet, are these ancient legends and tales, or the underground city itself, based in reality? And when will the mysteries and prophecies of Shambala finally be solved? To this day, it remains a profound and enduring enigma. A 5,000-year-old whale fossil found in mainland Thailand. Imagine one day, far inland, several miles from the current coastline, people unexpectedly stumble upon the remains of a massive creature that once roamed the oceans. This is not a legend or a Hollywood movie script. It's a real discovery that has captured the attention of the scientific community. In Samut Sakhon province, about 7.5 miles west of Bangkok, experts discovered a nearly intact fossilized skeleton of a whale, measuring 39 feet long, lying undisturbed beneath sediment layers for thousands of years. Initial analysis identifies it as a bride's whale, a species that can weigh between 13 to 28 tons when alive. Its skull alone measures nearly 10 feet long, accompanied by all major bones, including fins, ribs, vertebrae, and shoulder bones. What makes this fossil particularly remarkable is its exceptional preservation, which is extremely rare, especially in Asia, where whale fossils are scarce, and finding one nearly intact is extraordinary. During excavation, researchers also discovered traces of other organisms surrounding the whale skeleton, including barnacles, crabs, shark teeth, and stingrays. While these details may seem minor, for archaeologists and paleontologists, they are crucial pieces of evidence that help reconstruct an ancient marine ecosystem that once thrived here. Experts describe the find as rare in both quantity and quality. The whale bones will soon undergo radiocarbon dating to determine a more precise age. Preliminary estimates suggest the whale lived around 5,000 years ago, during a time when natural conditions and marine environments were very different from today. Why is this discovery significant? According to researchers, the fossil provides insights into the life of bride's whales in the past, their size, behavior, and habitat. It may even reveal how the species adapted over time to changes in Earth's climate and environment. Beyond biology, the fossil also offers valuable information about geology and paleontology, such as ancient sea levels, sediment types, and the contemporaneous marine community. One puzzling question is, how did a whale, a creature that lives in temperate, tropical, and warm waters, end up so far inland? The answer lies in geological history. Over the past 10,000 years, tectonic activity raised this area by about 13 feet above sea level. In other words, the site where the fossil was found was once shallow sea, suitable for whales to swim and live. Imagine it. A colossal ocean creature that once glided through waves now rests quietly beneath the land where humans walk. This discovery is more than a scientific story. It's a reminder that Earth is constantly changing in ways we cannot always predict. And who knows? Beneath the ground we stand on, countless other secrets may still be waiting to be uncovered. The 1,300-year-old golden throne of a powerful Moche queen. Imagine standing in the arid lands of northern Peru, where wind and sand have hidden history for over a millennium. It was here, in October 2024, that archaeologists revealed a discovery that stunned the academic world. A 1,300-year-old golden throne room, adorned with vivid murals depicting a powerful Moche queen. Remarkably, though the room has been uncovered, the queen's remains have yet to be found. leaving a major mystery waiting to be solved. The throne room was discovered at the Panyamarca archaeological site and has been dated to the 7th century CE, a period when the Moche civilization was flourishing. The Moche inhabited northern Peru from around 350 to 850 CE, renowned for their complex architectural constructions, elaborate tombs, and exquisite art, particularly ceramics depicting human faces with astonishing realism. All of these achievements were created in a society without writing, making each surviving artifact a language that tells stories to future generations. What makes this find especially significant is that it may be the first throne room ever recorded for a female ruler at Panyamarca, or even in all of ancient Peru. While historians have known that many queens ruled pre-Inca Peru, evidence of their spaces of power has rarely been so clearly documented. This discovery opens an entirely new window into history. The throne itself is made of clay, yet it is far from ordinary. Inside, archaeologists found greenstone beads and strands of human hair, sparking curiosity among scientists. They believe these hairs may have belonged to the queen herself. Researchers are now planning DNA testing to verify this hypothesis. If confirmed, it would be one of the rare pieces of evidence directly linking a female ruler to her space of power. The murals inside the throne room are equally remarkable. Images of the ruler appear on pillars, walls, and even on the throne itself. Each painting tells a different story about the Moche queen. One depicts her wearing a crown and raising a cup as if performing a sacred ritual. Another shows her holding a scepter, while a procession of men bearing textiles and offerings approaches in clear homage. Most striking of all is the depiction of the queen seated on her throne, conversing with a half-human, half-bird figure, a symbol of the deep connection between earthly authority and the spiritual realm in Moche culture. In fact, female rulership was not uncommon in ancient Moche society. Researcher Koons notes that female leaders were fairly prevalent in the Moche civilization as well as in later northern Peruvian dynasties. However, most evidence of their power until now came primarily from tombs, the most famous being Señora de Cao, the mummified body of a Moche noblewoman buried with intricate jewelry, weapons, and tools for throwing spears and darts. Thus, the discovery of this throne room not only adds a new piece to the historical puzzle, but also compels us to reconsider the role and status of women in ancient civilizations of the Americas. And who knows, beneath the layers of soil at Panyamarca, there may still be other secrets waiting to tell the story of a queen who wielded supreme power 1,300 years ago. Quite possible, isn't it? As you can see, these archaeological discoveries not only leave us in awe of the past, but also remind us that history is alive and has never been fully told. Every ancient tomb, every artifact unearthed, is a whisper from long ago, urging modern humans to listen and reflect. Right beneath our feet today, there are likely countless secrets that have never been touched, ready to shake the world once the light falls upon them. What do you think about that? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you won't miss any other amazing discoveries. For now, goodbye, and see you next time.